Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 Today.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Zach is off today. We will get to weather in just a moment. Before we do, we want to start this morning with a crime tracker. A man and a woman are facing a string of animal and child sex abuse charges following a month-long investigation by the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office released these photos of the two suspects, 40-year-old Daniel Phelps and his longtime girlfriend, 39-year-old Tara Crawford. Investigators believe there may be more victims, and they hope these photos will help in the investigation. Now, this investigation started in June when deputies started looking into material of a child being sexually exploited. Following the investigation of at least two victims, ages 5 and 1, deputies arrested the pair on Wednesday. In addition to the photos and videos showing Phelps allegedly victimizing the children, they also found evidence of sexual abuse of a canine. Phelps and Crawford are lodged in the Douglas County Jail facing numerous charges. And this morning, a mountain biker missing in the Mount Hood Wilderness for 6 days has returned home. Christina Giardinelli from our Portland sister station tells us how he found his own way home.
He's really looking forward to some shrimp fettuccine.
Diane Brown has known his wife Marcy for 30 years and flew out from the East Coast when she found out he went missing Friday evening.
So when he didn't get home around 6 at night, she started to worry, and then her and her son drove up there that evening and called the police when they found his car.
While search crews, family, and friends scoured the Mount Hood area for days, Ralph was working his way home. Brown says she still doesn't have all of the details about how he spent those 5 days because he's in the hospital being checked out.
My understanding is basically he walked out just through a lot of brush, incredibly ill during that time from drinking some of the water. There was no choice.
After hiding his bike near the trailhead Friday, he hiked on foot and at some point lost his footing and scrambled down a steep ravine. He could not make it out the same way he came in.
He just step by step followed I don't know the name of the creek, and finally made it back.
Brown says they did their best to maintain hope during the search efforts. She and the family's close friend Jennifer Buckhart are sharing their gratitude with all of those who helped look for him.
Immense gratitude and relief. There really aren't any words to express. I'm just glad he's okay, and I'm glad for his family.
Now to the largest wildfire burning in the U.S. so far this year. We're talking about the Cram Fire that's burning right here in Oregon. It's burned nearly 96,000 acres. The good news, it is now 73% contained, up from last week. However, level 3 go now evacuation orders are still in effect for over 150 people this morning. Despite the state of the Cram Fire, the Oregon Department of Forestry says they're currently in a much better spot this year than they were this time last year. As Salem Bureau reporter Vasila Verlamos reports, the agency says it would take a lot more fires and damage to be in the same spot as last year.
Fire officials are confident in their preparedness to respond to fires this season.
I truly believe all the caches in the state of Oregon really prepared for summer 2025, and we're seeing those results here.
David Allen, the ODF Salem Fire Cache manager, says stockpiles are filled and there's no shortage of resources right now. The record fire year last year scorched 1.9 million acres. ODF says 479 fires have burned 4,295 acres on agency-protected land so far this year. That's a far cry from the 85,000 acres that burned from 317 fires on ODF land by this time last year. ODF spokesperson Jessica Newyear says the lower number of acres burned is thanks to the hard work of firefighters.
That is truly a testament to our ODF firefighters and their work in initial attack.
A Northwest Interagency Coordination Center report estimates the cost of large fires statewide this year is around $65 million. A large fire is a fire that burns approximately 100 acres of timber or 300 acres of grass. According to the report, approximately 130,000 acres have burned so far. 7 were started by humans and 7 others are still under investigation. ODF says they've spent $44 million on wildfires this year, and the agency's net cost is $20 million, meaning $24 million will need to be reimbursed by the federal or state government.
We are working hand in hand with them and making sure that everybody remains informed.
I'm Vasily Varlamos reporting.
ODF says conditions are very similar to last year and fire danger is still high around most of the state. And before we jumped into our weekend, you'll remember we were talking about a fire near the McKenzie Bridge throughout our newscast. This morning, an update to that fire behind the ranger station. Flames engulfed an outbuilding storing tools and equipment for the ranger district. The incident commander on scene requested heavy tankers to assist in stopping that blaze. There were no reported injuries. However, many vehicles inside and around the building were destroyed.
The 3 fire vehicles that were in the building are a total loss, as well as the 4 or 5 pickups on the outside are a total loss. We were able to save several engines that were parked out front of the building and get them moved before the fire was too large. We are working with the Forest Service to make sure we get some vehicles moved up here to protect the community and that there's no loss in service.
Officials say the cause of the fire is still unknown at this time. Several families gathered along the McKenzie River last week, searching for answers in the disappearances of their loved ones. With help from the nonprofit Dylan's Legacy, they're hoping to recover remains and bring peace to families still waiting for closure. NBC 16's Tiffany Lewis has more.
Volunteers and grieving families spent the last week combing this section of the McKenzie River, searching for remains of several people who've gone missing in Lane County, transforming grief into hopeful action.
Everybody deserves to be found, and every parent deserves to have peace. There's never closure, but there's at least peace. So we just seen this need for us to band together as families, be able to raise funds to get more of these missions funded, where we have lack of funding in law enforcement and search and rescue through the state level.
The search effort is led by Dylan's Legacy, a Utah-based nonprofit founded by Candice Cooley after her son, Dylan Rounds, was murdered in 2022 at just 20 years old. Since then, she's helped families search for answers that police departments sometimes can't provide. The families of Shane Sprenger and Michael Bryson say their loved ones' cases have faded into the background, lost in a system with too few detectives and underfunded forensic labs.
When Michael first went missing in 2020, there was 4 detectives in Lane County, all of Lane County, in the sheriff's department. And Lane County is huge. And we are the 3rd largest county in Oregon with missing people. So there's a problem there.
Michael disappeared after attending a 3-day camping trip in rural Lane County. Nearly 5 years later, the case remains unresolved, and his family has started the Michael Bryson Foundation.
It tears you up inside. As a dad, you feel like you weren't there to protect. As a mom, you feel like you weren't there to listen and to protect.
Since 2021, the Sprenger family has waited for answers. This week's search brought a renewed sense of urgency and connection.
It's been really nice to be here and talk with people that knew him around here. We've said it a million times, there's no instruction book on what to do when someone you love goes missing. And so just having resources and, ideas of what to do for the next step. We had 3 years of basically standstill.
Shane Sprenger went missing from Vida in 2021 at age 47, leaving behind very few clues about the circumstances.
Everybody says this can't happen to us. It doesn't happen to people like us. You wake up one morning and it can simply be you.
It's a mission built on heartbreak, but rooted in hope. With every flyer, every drone launch, and every bone discovered, these families say they'll keep going. In Lane County, I'm Tiffany Lewis reporting.
The American Academy of Pediatrics declared a national emergency in child and adolescent mental health in 2021. A local program is hoping to help with that. A program at the University of Oregon called the Balmer Institute allows undergraduate students to become a new kind of behavioral health worker. The institute allows college students to get hands-on experience, all while helping Oregon children who are facing mental health problems. Because of the success, it's now growing outside of the state.
The most innovative aspect of our work is our undergraduate program in child behavioral health. It's the first of its kind in the country. Our training program is providing students with skills and how to provide high quality support to kids in community settings like schools, pediatricians' offices, community-based organizations.
After more than 700 hours of supervised community fieldwork, students are well equipped without having to spend more time and money in grad school.
It's a huge barrier to require folks go and pay for an expensive graduate degree, like a master's degree, to get into this field. And we know that mental health jobs don't often pay that well, right? It might not be a good investment for you to pay a lot of money for that degree if you're not going to earn a salary on the other side that makes it easy to pay those student loans.
Their goal is to ultimately create more jobs in this field, and they are on track to success. Roughly 20 students are expected to walk the stage with that much needed experience in mental health services in the summer of 2026. And if you're an avid floater or boater here in Oregon, listen to this. New fees are coming soon. Right now, waterway access permits are required for boats 10 feet or longer. But starting next year, the law will expand to include watercraft less than 10 feet long, which means kayaks, rafters, and paddleboards will also need to buy a permit. The Oregon State Marine Board says the rule change aims to raise more revenue for boat stations and help keep waterways free of invasive species.